Back to the bracket breakdown, second week in a row with Tim O'Shea, head coach of Bryant. Thanks for coming in. Here it is. Everyone has their bracket on this Monday, one of the great traditions in college basketball. Let's start with the local teams. And it's interesting. You were an assistant with Ed Cooley at URI in 1997. That's right. The last year both teams were in the big dance, so some good synergy here. All right, PC and URI, both 11 seeds. The Friars are in the playing game. Did you think they got the appropriate seeds?
Well, that's hard to say, but I do think they're fortunate to be in the 11 seed as opposed to that when you date back to that time that we went when Ed and I were on the staff together. We were the 9, and the 8-9 to me is a dreaded game because if you win, you got to play number 1 in the second round. So I think they got a tough draw, but I think it's better to be at 11 than, say, for example, an 8-9.
Ed Cooley, pretty optimistic when I spoke to him last night about being in the playing game. Hey, we're in the tournament, 4th year in a row. How do you kind of put that aside that maybe you didn't get the draw you wanted to and kind of just focus in on the game here?
Well, I think they're in good shape. I was down in New York when they played Creighton, and they didn't have their best game. But so many times in the past, when a team does not play well in their conference tournament, they go out on a sour note, they often bounce back and play really well in the tournament. So I'm optimistic. I think they've got a really good team. I think they're going to be ready to go, and I think they've got a great matchup with USC. And
it's interesting because many were saying URI would be in the first 4. In essence, did the Rams kind of push PC into the first 4 by winning the A-10?
Well, if you believe the interviews, that's what they're saying. That they basically traded spots because of what happened in the A-10 tournament.
So URI, you mentioned Creighton, who you saw. That's who they're playing. And then Oregon, should they win, they're kind of a trendy pick to get to the Sweet 16 or at least win the first game. What do you think?
Well, I think it puts a little bit more pressure on them now that they are the trendy pick. It's not like they're going to surprise anybody, but certainly they're capable. I like Creighton's team. The big kid Patton's going to be a challenge for them. Foster's an excellent shooter. And I really like their freshman point guard Mintz. I thought he played terrific in the Big East tournament.
All right, bobbing back and forth. Let's go to PC. They have USC, who they played in the tournament last year, so some familiarity. Short turnaround. How do you think the matchup looks for Providence?
Well, they're both up-tempo teams. Andy Enfield, when he was at Florida Gulf Coast, had some success in the tournament. The interesting thing about this USC team is they returned Boatwright, who had missed 17 games. He got back at the beginning of February. Big 6'9" kid, really a presence inside. But there is some familiarity between the teams in that Providence played them a year ago, but that was a Chris Dunn, Ben Bentil team.
Right.
I think it's going to be a very close, exciting game, teams with similar styles of play.
Okay, last one on the local teams. How good is this for our state that you're a big part of as the head coach at Bryant to have 2 teams in the dance, kind of raising the profile of hoops here?
I've always felt Rhode Island's a great college basketball state, and it's great for the game that both teams are in this year. It'll be a tremendous amount of excitement this week with people following the tournament. And I think it's unique in that I see a chance for both teams to advance.
Right. That'd be great. Absolutely. All right, let's talk about the big bracket. The 1 seeds, Villanova, Gonzaga, Kansas, and UNC. Of those 1 seeds, give me your team that you think is most likely to go all the way and maybe the one most susceptible to an upset.
I honestly think the team that's most susceptible to an upset is going to be Villanova because they've got Duke as the number 2. And I think Duke's playing great right now. A lot of people felt they should have been a number 1. And I have a personal favorite this year in Gonzaga. We played them to open the season. It'd be great to see a team that comes from a so-called mid-major conference advance all the way to the Final 4. I don't know if that's happened since Wichita State or George Mason. I think they've got tremendous size. They're well coached. It's a team I'll be rooting for, and I think they can get there this year.
All right. Final 4 for the 2017. Let's hear it.
Out of the East, I like Duke over Villanova. I like Louisville. I like Gonzaga. And I like UCLA.
All right, now when you look at the tournament as a whole, is there more parity now than maybe 15, 20 years ago where there were some blue blood programs that no one could beat? Do you feel like maybe 10, 15 teams could actually win this thing?
Absolutely. Well, I don't know about 10, 15 can win it, but there can be upsets from day one. A team like Nevada, they won, I believe, 25, 26 games. They're loaded with transfers, very, very talented. I saw Florida Gulf Coast play Al Skinner's team in their tournament. I really like their team, and they're playing Florida State in Florida. I think they have a real shot at a big upset.
Those are your upset picks: Nevada over Iowa State and Florida Gulf Coast over Florida State. For what it's worth, my Final 4: Villanova, Arizona, Kansas, and UCLA. 2 1s. A 2 and a 3. So we are going to hold you to it. We'll see how you're doing next week on our next bracket breakdown. And thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks, Yianni.
Much more from the Bracket Breakdown Show coming up right after this.